Hello again, everybody. We got Nagano Winter Olympics 98, the game on Nintendo 64. It was also on PlayStation. This is being played on my dad's portable Panasonic 1984 TV. I was born in 1986, so the Nagano Winter Olympics being in 1998, and this game also releasing in 1998. We're going to get to that in a second. That would mean that I was about 12. Now, the thing is, it released in January, in North America at least, for 98, and so I wouldn't not have yet been 12. I would have been 12 in August because my birthday's August 22nd. But anyway, we're going to be playing through two modes right here as we tell you guys some stories. That's always what we do on the Retro Kendo channel. So if you really like gameplay on this like old mini beast of a TV or just kind of retro nostalgia things, I would love if you subscribe. Thank you so much. And we're going to play curling and we're going to do the luge. These are my two like favorite winter events from this game. This game featured like 10 winter events. I don't even know if that's how many. I don't know much about the Nagano Winter Olympics in 1998 themselves. You know, I know this game. This was actually what got me into the Olympics at all, but really into the sport of curling. I actually really enjoy curling. It's like so weird, you know, to think about. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not weird to curling people. I just never hear people talk about curling. So a few things. Now, I really like to get the release dates correct. Sometimes, though, it's just like I do have to look them up if I don't know them myself. And this one, actually, it's a little bit weird just because I feel like the release date is slightly harder for me to find exactly. Like, did it come out in January 10th in 1998? Or when I upload this, hopefully today, January 29th, 1998. I'm seeing conflicting information. It'll say in January 19, 1998 on the Wikipedia. There's like an article from IGN. And by the way, we should check out this article. This is kind of interesting. You know, listen, people make mistakes, all right? But if you're a journalist, like, you know? But yeah, the archived article says, the multi-event Olympics game should be available in stores as early as tomorrow. We have played the final version, and although it is better than its PlayStation incarnation, it left us disappointed with the overall balance and control. So yeah, it left us. IGN, you guys want to get an update on this? I'm just kidding. Probably a little ball busting here, and I don't intend for that to be the case. It does seem that the game, though, came out in Japan a little bit earlier. It was December 18th, 1997, according to what I could see. But yeah, it's like, you know, when you look at it, subsequently released in North America on January 10th, 1998, or January 29th, 1998. Well, why and or? Like, is that Canada and US, maybe? Maybe they had different dates, but okay. You guys, it was so funny, because at that time, I would have just been probably watching the World Wrestling Federation. I watched that like around age 11, maybe even 10, but around then, and I watched it for just about 2 years. I actually have an old ticket from going to see it live and everything. I feel like I need to frame that maybe just because, I don't know, like that's kind of cool for me to have saved the ticket, right, you guys? I don't, maybe. But I can remember, this just relates to the Olympics. My parents were like, you might like watching wrestling in the Olympics, and so I remember I tried that. That wouldn't be the Winter Olympics. This just sort of gave me that like memory, right, of my mom saying that. Now, what you're gonna see over to the side, we often have our little mini TV beast with something to the left of it, our left. I try to make it relate to whatever the game is. Usually it's like a piece of the actual gaming's merchandise. Like maybe it's the box, you know, in the case of like N64 games, you know, I love to get the complete in box. I have most of my boxes from my childhood. This one I don't. I don't have the instruction booklet. I don't have the box. I feel like I should just buy that. But that's a trophy that says champion. Now it's only the bottom of the trophy. I mean, I couldn't fit it. The TV is literally 5.6 inches by 5.6 inches. And baby, that's all the size you need. But that's why the trophy, like, it's actually kind of a taller trophy for soccer. And so football, for anybody in a different country, of course. I'm in the United States. I don't mind calling it football, but I also call it soccer. I always played D. Usually I was left wing D. That's defense for the folks at home. But I was on left side even though I'm right-footed. Oftentimes you go with whatever side your footing might be, but I was pretty ambidextrous with my feet. Like I could use my left foot as well. Ambidextrous would be hand, I'm sorry. But because I could pretty much kick with about the same power, they, you know, were saying, hey, just put them on the left. Sometimes I'd be stopper, you know. But this now has an offshoot to another memory, right? This is, I often talk about my parents or just something from childhood because, yeah, we're retro kendo, right? This is my dad's old TV. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us, and my mom is also not with with us, she died actually in 2013. It was from breast cancer, but my dad actually, he died back in June of 2025. We will be coming up on a year of that, only somewhat soon, I guess, but my memory kind of relates to them, and it's not a good one. Usually I'm talking about kind of like a good one, or like a really meaningful, I guess, like usually positive emotion or some kind of lesson learned or something, but this one is not good, and I regret that that's the case. But listen, not to speak ill of the dead, but anyway, this is what parents do, right? So, well, you're gonna find out. So what happened was, it relates to soccer, right? I was having a football or soccer tournament, and I had to essentially, I was gonna wake up the next day and go play in the tournament, but it was like a day or two before that we had a practice, and one of my own teammates, we had a guest player. Sometimes you'll have a guest player from another team that plays with your team. I don't know what the circumstances of that always were. Like, I don't know, maybe that guest player is just good, or I don't, whatever. I was a kid, you guys. But this dude was slide tackling everybody. Like, I knew the dude because he actually tried to slide tackle me when he was against me one time before this, but at the practice, he straight up slide tackled me, and it just wrecked my ankle. Like, I could not play in the tournament because this dude, like, how do you knock out one of your own players during practice? That sucks, dude. And I hated this player for it. I do not remember the dude's name. Something in my head is saying that his name started with an R, but I'm not sure, like Rashid or something. This is all probably not important, but yeah, he took me out so I couldn't play in the game, and so the game would be on Saturday morning. But I come to find out, as I wake up, my parents are pissed, and so they were super upset. They were taking it out on me, on each other, and the reason was because my sister, that night before, so imagine Friday night, right, into Saturday morning, my sister had snuck out her window. So my sister is 2 years older than me. I'm not positive what month this would be of 2000. I just know the year was 2000. I would have turned 14 in August of 2000. So I was either 13 or 14, right? But that would make my sister 15 or 16. And so what had happened was, unfortunately, my sister, she went to some like party or whatever. I don't think there was drinking involved. You know, that would be like way underage drinking, of course, in the United States. But aside from that, what happened was that the cops actually ended up nabbing her and some other people that went to that party. And so if you're a minor, at least in Texas, this would be at the time. I think they actually might have abolished this like since then, sometime in the 2020s, if I recall. But either way, she was still a minor. And so, yeah, the cops, they obviously frown upon this sort of thing. And so she came home to my parents with the police, who obviously they were upset. And yep, bad thing all around, right? Unfortunately, my parents were taking it out on me as well. And I was really upset that day on Saturday because I couldn't play in the tournament. I couldn't play with my friends who were on the team, but just my team, right? Like, I felt really bad about that. I had a lot of emotions because, of course, my sister is upset, you know, and she's saying how she feels bad, and like my parents aren't giving her much slack that day. It was still a fresh wound, right? And so then, like, I'm sitting there in a chair on the side of the field next to my dad, and my dad was always nice, man. He did so many things that were just kind. He like really taught me how to be sensitive and how to like try to do good in the world or be kind, even if you get mocked, you know? Like, he said, it's kind of this quote that I always have in my mind, that people will mock you for being kind, but you should always do it anyway. And it was to have like an intrinsic value, an intrinsic reward, you know, not for like external rewards or something, right? So to do good for the sake of doing good. And yeah, so this was surprising, but like I was kind of hunched over strangely because I didn't want people to see me crying. But as, you know, mostly as a kid or a teenager, like, you're not really thinking about it, but like I was way hunched over, right? Like my head in my lap, basically, as flexible as I could be, but like my arms fully over my head, like covering my head and everything. And I was just upset because everyone was upset and I was upset. I couldn't play. And so my dad kept trying to like talk to me. At first, I think he was being okay, right? Like probably being, you know, just, don't you want to watch the game or whatever? And then he said, you look really foolish right now. You know, that's what he said to me. So it's like, oh, great, that helps. He might have even said like stupid right now. I don't know. That seems a little harsh, but yeah. Eventually, my coach called me over. You know, he was saying, hey, come sit with us. Like, because I guess the game was about to start. It hadn't started yet, but I was crying, right? And so I start walking over there, like around the field, because you can't walk through the field when the game's about to start. But my sister, who had been waiting in the car because she was upset that my parents were upset at her, comes out and she like sees that I'm crying as I'm walking. And so she rushes out of the car and actually like hugs me and walks with me. It was just, that's so sweet. Oh my gosh. much. It's like my sister and I, we butt heads, but we also had really like sweet moments like that. And I've had some ups and downs with her, but like I really love my sister. I'm like in her life with, she has 3 children who are awesome. I have one kid, my son. We go see them from time to time, and I am just like, I'm born to be an uncle, man. Kids are somehow like magnetized to me. I don't know what it is, dude. Kids have always been, like even when I was little, smaller kids would be into me, and then now that I'm like bigger, I'm just a kid magnet. I guess kids love me. But listen, you guys, they say that kids and animals can sense these sorts of things, and I am good with both, okay? I can get any dog and like win them over, basically, and cat. But now we're getting on lots of tangents, but my sister was, trying to cheer me up and stuff, and I sat down and my coach was like, hey, what's wrong? Trying to figure it out as I'm crying, and then my sister's like, my parents are mad at me and they're taking it out on him. And that was like the greatest thing she could have done for me, because then I didn't have to talk like as I'm just sitting there blubbering or whatever. Dude, I was little. I mean, maybe, I don't know, 13-ish. I guess that's little enough, to be upset about all this. But yeah, it's so it's like a rough memory, and my sister really doesn't like that like whole memory and whatnot. I hope she's not seeing this right now. Jeez, I have told her about this channel. You guys, I have multiple channels though, so maybe she's watching the others or not watching them at all. I can hope. But my parents they were really great in general, like I like to say, I didn't have a life without adversity. There were tough things sometimes by my parents, but for the most part, like they were always more of a safe haven, and so like a lot of kids, it might be rough outside and inside the home. For the most part, inside the home was okay. I mean, a lot of my like troubles came with school peers and whatnot. Like people treated me horribly all the time, definitely bullying, but then just like not fitting in anywhere and kind of just being ostracized all the time. I've never had a group, you know what I mean? Like there's people that are the goths or the preps or the alternative kids or the whatever they're gonna be, right? Even when I was like skateboarding, like I probably would have been getting into skateboarding around this time, because I know I started skating, I think in 2001, so that was close to then. I still didn't have a group. Like I didn't fit in with the skaters, you know what I'm saying? I still don't fit in anywhere, man. Like I go to family stuff with my wife's family and I don't fit in, like they all talk to other people like I don't exist. So look at this, I still have the same problem, you guys. I don't know, woe is me, man. This turned into a sad episode. Let's just say this, my soccer team was amazing, you guys. I often played on a team called the Gators. That was like for the longest time before I did select soccer. For those who don't know, you can do like recreation, or when you get a little bit better and higher up there, you can do select. Select is, it sort of sounds like what it is, I guess. But yeah, it's a higher level. If you were gonna be like a pro one day, you'd be in select, and then you'd be in like some college team, and yeah, you'd be, I don't know. Do you guys get it? For the most part. But in my rec days, well, I played soccer only for one more year after that. So yeah, maybe it was this moment. No, I'm just kidding. It was high school that really like made me stop, because I entered into high school in 01. So yeah, it would have been that next year. Look at how all this is, we're coming somewhat full circle, or whatever the saying is. But yeah, we are just about to end our curling match. It has been crazy, you guys. I've made some mistakes, but I am surprised that I can actually play this good nowadays, and especially on this TV. This TV is handling this game beautifully. You guys, we just finished Deltarune on this mini beast of a TV, and wow, Deltarune tried to battle with this TV and completely lost, or maybe the TV lost to Deltarune. It went horribly. The TV seems to have something where like it'll flicker and kind of just mess up the picture majorly. It gets really crunchy, as we say around here. The crunch comes usually on like menus of games and whatnot, but it generally seems to be, from the very limited research I can tell, and nobody's told me yet. If any of you guys know this stuff, you should tell me. But yeah, I was gonna say it's like the phosphors inside the TV, PHOSPHOR. It's just basically something that the CRTs this old struggled sometimes, and especially with this size, this small size. They couldn't really read if the game was like kind of that more black, darker, kind of like flat contrast maybe. So sometimes also like in games like Gauntlet Legends where it was dark, had some like really darker, not well lit moments. Yeah, that got crunchy as well. Some Banjo-Kazooie in there, man. Oi. So yeah, N64 we don't always succeed with, but this game I'm gonna give it a definitely the first place ribbon, the first place trophy. I don't remember how everyone did in the Nagano Winter Olympics of '98. We should actually put that on screen here for you. So yeah, why not check that out right here? I'll have that to the side. And we'll do one quick event left. It's the luge singles. And I think just kind of the last thing that I would say is, obviously if you love gaming with stories and whatnot, again, that's what this channel is about. I am like opting that about 75% of the content will be this like mini TV and playing games and seeing what it looks like on the mini TV here while we give the stories. But I also wanted to kind of just leave the door open that there could be like video essays or things that just kind of tackle all that nostalgia of the 80s and 90s. That was my like growing up. Maybe the like really early 2000s as well, if we see something that fits, right? Anything that relates to like vintage and retro stuff, right? I'm leaving that door open. But for now, the channel's still relatively new. We actually just hit our 90 days very recently since creating this, and so I'm really just so grateful that you guys watch. I am so grateful to anyone who subscribes, and especially anyone who comments. That is my favoriteest things ever about this channel, is when you guys comment, because usually you're leaving a remark about the memories that I talk about or the game that I'm playing or something, or like the TV, you know. So like I always like to hear how these things relate to you guys. So yeah, I'm just gonna shut up for the last minute or so, and I'll let you guys watch this without my interruption now. So yes, the Nagano Winter Olympics '98 on Nintendo 64. Please enjoy.
Intermediate time, 9.900 seconds. Intermediate time, 43.162 seconds. Intermediate time, 1 minute, 0.931 seconds. The time was 1 minute, 12.531 seconds.
You couldn't place this time.